You're watching Service Electric 2 Sports, presented in high definition.
Good evening and welcome into the SportsFest warm-up show. By now you get the gist of what this show is all about, and I hope you are enjoying it. I'm your host, Erica Rose, and this week I will be talking about getting in shape all year round and wrap things up talking about food and all the healthy options that are out there. But first, it's fencing, an interesting sport anyone can get involved in. Fencing is one of the oldest known sports. However, many may not even realize there is a school of fencing about 30 minutes from the Lehigh Valley. Here to tell us a little more about it is the owner of Circle d'Escrime, Brian Murphy. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. How you doing?
Good. Tell us where we are first.
Right here we're in Sellersville, Pennsylvania. We're pretty much right between, I guess you could say, Quakertown, Doylestown, right in the middle. School's been here now for over 20 years. This is my 5th year now running it as owner, though.
Give us a kind of an overview of the place.
Building itself is 100 years old. Originally, this was a cigar factory, believe it or not. It was a big thing in Sellersville. It went through many different phases and businesses, and finally, when it became the fencing school here, it was a big hit. Fencing, as you mentioned, is one of the oldest sports around. It's one of only 4 sports that have been in every single Olympic Games since the modern games started. So it's been established a very long time.
We'll get a little more into the history and origin of it. First, let's talk about the rules of fencing.
There's 3 basic weapons. Each one has their own separate kind of rules to them. You have foil, épée, and saber. Each weapon has their own body target area. Épée is easiest to explain because it's head to toe, literally. Everything's target. And foil, you have a specific target area around the chest and the torso, abdomen, and your back. Basically what your jacket would cover, except for the sleeves, no head, no legs, stuff like that. It sounds gruesome, but it's all the vital organs, pretty much. Saber is a cavalry weapon originally for horseback. So target area for that is from the hip bones up, including the head. A couple of reasons. One, it was considered rude, believe it or not, to hurt your horse in battle. It was okay to cut the person, but yeah, you couldn't just really cut the horse. That was deemed a no-no. Also, the way the scoring system works, you wear this lamé. It's a metal fabric. And for the saber system to work, you would need to wear a lamé outfit head to toe if everything was target area. Whereas just the torso, you should wear a jacket of lamé. Foil, you wear a vest made out of lamé. I can show you this a little later if you want. And épée, you don't have to wear any of that. It's just your jacket and your breeches and all that stuff. For rules itself, épée and foil are quite similar in the fact that you have to score the tip only. Whereas saber, you can use the tip as well as the entire cutting edge of the blade. There are different rules. One of the big rules, believe it or not, is the most confusing for spectators. It's called right away. And it's in terms of when 2 lights go on the scoring machine, right away determines who gets the point. And that's actually the person who attacks first. If they are successful, they get the point, even if they're hit in the process. Or the person who parries or blocks the blade and then riposts or attacks after that, then they steal right away back. So if they do that and then get hit in the process, it's okay, they steal their point. Épée, it's like the actual duel. So if you get hit, you get hit. If there's 2 lights in the machine, you each get a point. So that's how it works. Honor is very important in fencing, especially the rules. You can't act crazy or mad or show too much violent emotion. You're supposed to be very, very calm, respectful. That's one of the things that really got me into fencing in the first place, was that aspect of it.
So you mentioned the 3 different blades. How does one choose which blade they are going to work with?
With fencing, you never go against opposite blades. Like a foil fencer and fencing épée fencer, it's always foil against foil, épée against épée, saber against saber. A lot of it's personal preference. For beginners, they start with foil because it offers everything all the other weapons need. Good footwork, good distance, point control, timing, that kind of thing. Once the fencer gets about a year's worth of lessons in and they want to experiment and make the switch, they can try another weapon. I said before, it goes with personality, and I guess you could say saber is the equivalent of football, whereas the referee says fence. These guys boom, come after each other, and this wham, hit, hit. A lot of people like watching it because a lot of action, instant gratification of hitting action, boom, 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 back and forth. Epee is much more patient, and you gotta take your time, wait for your moment. You can't go rushing in there, otherwise you'll get hit in the process. So it's a mentality of patience versus explosiveness. Foil is kind of like in the center of the spectrum, where you need to be quick, of course, in all three weapons, but I guess foil, you could say, is more like boxing. It's stick and move, back and forth, using your feet a lot. And epee, again, is the patience, small movements, stuff like that. So if you're a laid-back person who likes the idea of this choosing their moment, picking off your opponent as they're coming in, epee is your weapon. If you're like, yeah, 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 if you're the kind of person that gets up like 6 a.m. in the morning, it's like, let's do it, let's go, that mentality is definitely saber. So again, it goes into like your personal mentality and stuff like that.
So this is a school of fencing. Who can take lessons?
Oh, fencing is a great sport because age does not really matter. In fact, you should not use size, age, or gender to judge skill. I've seen girls beat boys, stuff like that. You have to be somewhat physically fit, of course, with any sport, but fencing, it allows you to develop that endurance over time with your lessons.
What will a typical lesson look like?
Oh, typical lessons, we start with warm-ups. Warm-ups are important because you only anybody pull muscles, strain themselves, stuff like that, but we make it brief. Then we go through a footwork procedure where we just do drills called a single line mobility, where everybody lines up on the floor and we'll call out steps just to hone their footwork. Then we actually get in their groups, find partners, partner everybody up with regards to size, height, that kind of thing. And depending on the lesson, the weapon, and the skill level, we go through various different types of different attacks, different defenses. The biggest thing we emphasize is strategy and tactics, because in fencing, force will only get you so far. It's a lot of finesse. So you have to be able to outthink your opponent, trick them, use feints and stuff like that. Almost like you do in boxing, a fake attack to trick your opponent to open them up. So it's that chess game mentality where a lot of people like it for that reason too. It's not just you going in there hitting heads. You gotta really think stuff out and manipulate your opponent as best you can.
You offer both individual and group lessons. What are the benefits of each of those?
Oh, a group lesson, well, it's just that. It's a big group of people that get together, and you have a lot of fun with the group because, a lot of people get together, different sizes and ages and such like that. It gives you a different ability to fence other people. The ability to fence left and right-handed fencers, because lefties have a big advantage in fencing. If you're a lefty, you really, you always see the lefties on the podium at the Olympics and stuff. There's at least one left-hander, stuff like that. Also, with the groups, it's mostly moves and maneuvers we work on, whereas the individual lesson, we take what you learn in the group and we just repeat it over and over and over and over again until you get really, really refined muscle memory, that kind of thing, and your endurance and strength builds up as well.
Are there competitions that these kids or adults can go to?
We do offer a lot of competitions here. There's other places you can go, other schools you can go to compete. And the beautiful thing about fencing is it's one-on-one.
You're going to be at SportsFest for the 5th year this year. Who can participate in that?
Anybody that's a USFA member and wishes to compete in the right age bracket, because we have youth events. Saturday will be our youth foil. So anybody from 12 years and younger, actually I shouldn't say that, 12 years to 11 years. We have a Y10 category as well, but we don't have many 10-year-old fencers. So it'll be a Y12 foil on Saturday. Saturday after that will be the adult epee. So we have adult epee after that, and then Sunday we'll have adult foil and adult saber. So.
And this would be a great time if someone is interested in fencing or have never seen it in person. This would be a good time for them to come out and take a look.
Definitely. And it's one of the good moments where you can come out and see other sports as well. You have lots of stuff going on at SportsFest. And in fact, the first time I was there, I was a little overwhelmed at how big it was. It's really nice. And it's one of the very, very rare outdoor events. And fencing, originally in the Olympics way back in like the late 1800s, it could be fenced indoors or outdoors, which is why it made every Olympics. Sometimes you had a monsoon or a storm that you couldn't do the track events because there's no dome stadiums back then, but they can move it inside. Nowadays, 99.9% of all fencing competitions are indoor. So this outdoor event, a lot of people like coming out to it because it's a novelty thing. It's one of the rare things where they actually go fence outside.
And finally, why should someone get involved in fencing?
Oh, it's one of the best sports out there because even though you use blades and we refer to them as weapons, we loosely refer to them as that, it is one of the safest sports out there. I have never, knock on wood of course, had an injury here of any kind. I've been to other schools. They practice strong safety practices as well. So it is one of the safest sports there is out there. It also gives you the best of both worlds with endurance for cardio as well as strength training. It can help you lose weight, maintain your weight, stuff like that. So it's great cross training. So if you know other sports as well, you can do fencing in the off seasons for your other sports because you get your agility, your hand-eye coordination, all those things involved too. The fencing tip actually is the only thing faster in the Olympics, and the fencer's tip is a bullet fired from an actual marksman. So that's how fast they're going with the stuff. And they're quick.
And where can they find more information about your sport?
We have websites. We have the regular official website. That's www.cdefencing.com. We have a Facebook fan page and a Facebook group page as well. And it's got a lot of photos, stuff like that, some documents from the USFA, papers and stuff like that you can look up. You also go to the USFA's website, usfencing.com, I believe it's called. And they have a great resource for information and stuff. And in fact, they have a section just for people getting into fencing or don't know too much about it to explain some of the terminology and stuff. So it's always a good thing.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.
Well, stay tuned. We will be right back and head to American Hairlines when we return.